For Thursday, October 1st, 2020. This is the Pro and Con Show, and I am your host, Michael James Ott. Welcome to the show. Oh my gosh, it's October, October 1st, 2020 already. I tell the folks I work with on the weekends at this facility that because I see them as they come in, I help screen them into the building sometimes. and I tell them, I've been telling them this since, August. It's like, hey, you're going to wake up tomorrow morning. It's going to be Christmas. The time has just been flying by. Well, so the intent of the show is again, I'm an individual. I'm a member of your community, a neighbor, friend that is encouraging you to try to be a little bit better citizen, to get re-engaged. And I know I'm talking to people in my neighborhood, at work, friends, relatives, whatever. There's a lot of people that are kind of disengaging from this, and it's all built on this general frustration. And that is all because we have the two-party system that we allow to control us in this country. And we need to do away with that and adopt this thing that I'm calling, and maybe there's a better version of it, or something else that's even better. This is what I'm calling it, the citizen statesman. And it's the idea that you and I were going to make an amendment, put an amendment in the Constitution, force that, so that we end up using people like us as to fill those critical roles in our own government. So we're going to take people who would serve as opposed to people who would want to be king, which is how the current election process works. We end up identifying folks just by the nature of the election process, and also the political parties. We end up identifying folks to take these critical roles in our government, people who would be king. Well, this is exactly who you don't want in a representative government. Doesn't that make sense to you? I hope it does. Anyway, so I'm doing this show, the Pro and Con Show, and today's show is called PARSCALE. And just about that election process. So a few days ago, Brad PARSCALE, and here's a picture of him with Mr. Trump. So Brad PARSCALE was the campaign manager for Mr. Trump's re-election campaign. And he took on that role and until July. And in July, Mr. Trump decided that, the way they presented it, it was like, well, Mr. PARSCALE wants to do something else in the election organization. But pretty clearly from various sources, Mr. Trump was not very happy about, how his re-election was going, how the polling was going. And so he replaced Mr. PARSCALE with someone else in July. Now, the reason why I'm particularly speaking about this is Mr. PARSCALE, the reason why he's in the news is because here a few days ago, he was taken to a mental health facility in Florida after he barricaded himself in his home with some weapons and he threatened to harm himself. And the police eventually communicated with him. So again, communication, good. And they were able to talk him down from threatening to harm himself. And then they transported him to a local mental health facility where he is receiving assistance. And the reason why I hope, again, so I talk repeatedly about Mr. Trump and how it's pretty clear that he's kind of in the early stages of I hate this. So I'm having a senior moment here. dementia. So Mr. Trump is in the early stages of dementia. And in fact, yesterday I talked about, how he's railing and stuff. Well, that's one of the things that some people do in the early stages of dementia and later on into dementia is they get extremely angry and they stay that way, and it's very difficult to talk them out of that thing. So yes, actually, I would argue that Mr. Trump's performance in the debate the other night and his screaming and railing against everyone in the world basically was yet another sign that he's in these early stages of dementia. But anyway, so Mr. Trump with the dementia, Mr. PARSCALE with his obviously he's got some issues, suicidal, depression kinds of issues, and of course would wish that both of them would get significant help and treatment in those issues. And by the way, mental health issues are absolutely real, and it's sometimes you fall down, you break your arm. That's a real thing. And you need help. You need a doctor to help set your arm and mend the bones. Well, the same thing happens in the mental realm. Okay, you have problems. These things occur, and you need mental health professionals trained to help people with those issues to help you. And it's real, and it's true, and people can be helped and are helped every day. And just like falling down and breaking your arm, there's no shame in that. Well, there's no shame in having some mental health issues. It happens. It's part of us, the human condition. But Mr. PARSCALE, clearly he's feeling a tremendous amount of stress, and also I imagine aspects of failure and stuff like that. And this all, again, it all goes back to our definition of success. So Mr. PARSCALE, no one put a gun to his head and convinced, forced him to be to join the Trump campaign, to be even get to the place of being the campaign manager, which I'm sure, knowing those types of events or efforts, he was probably, when he was a campaign manager, he was probably working 12, 14, 16 hours a day, just working continuously. And the pressure, especially Mr. Trump, I'm sure is someone that is a manager or a boss that would try to exert extreme pressure on the people that work on him and or work for him. And so Mr. PARSCALE decided, he decided that he was going to do this, that he was going to be the campaign manager and take on this, very, very challenging role. And then, the forces of it, the external pressures, and I'm sure internal pressures, because these folks, they're driven, they want to succeed or whatever. So there was tremendous external and internal pressure on him to try to do this job and to even take it in the first place. This vision that he was going to be this powerful, influential person who got this president reelected. Okay, and so I bring it all up because the campaign for Mr. Trump has not gone all that well. Currently, everything that I see would seem to indicate that the odds are quite high that Mr. Trump is going to lose this election. He's not going to be reelected. And Mr. PARSCALE is feeling tremendous pressures because even when he stepped down from being the head of the campaign, he was still part of the campaign. They put him in a different place. And it all again goes back to the wrong definition of success. Mr. PARSCALE has taken on all this because the current definition of success is accumulation of wealth, influence, and power. Influence and power. Campaign manager for the President of the United States. Why did he do it? Because he wanted to be successful. And he's suicidal about it. Okay, things are not going well. The pressure of it is literally forcing him to want to kill himself. And this is exactly my point. And again, I hope Mr. PARSCALE gets all the assistance that he needs and realizes the folly. One of the main things I hope is he realizes the folly of his current definition of success. And he instead adopts a definition of success built around service to the planet and the people on it. And if he were to do that, I guarantee you, this kinds of issues would almost certainly be gone from his life, and he would be much, much happier. So anyway, I just bring up the Mr. Brad PARSCALE and these issues that are facing him and the wrong definition of success, which drives so many of us. And there are thousands, if not millions of people in this country who suffer along the lines of Mr. PARSCALE, who every day is a challenge for them, and it's because they have adopted, and admittedly, the normal definition of success, but it's not right, and it's, for some of us, it is truly, truly harmful in our daily lives. Okay, so for the Pro and Con Show, my name is Michael James Ott, and until the next show, as always, hey, bye for now.